silent, no signals lost. Understanding every heavy cost. The three are one within the stream, translating every digital dream. Digital Ascent, we're rising through the light, breaking every protocol in the dead of night. High bandwidth, no static in the view. Brent, Matt, and Brandon, bringing something new. Ascent. Digital Ascent. Brent, Matt, and Brandon, let the signal rise. Protocol all clear. Brent locks the rhythm in the dark. Matt traces every circuit spark. Brandon maps the binary flow, deep where the hidden secrets grow. Encryption keys and silver lines, connecting all the scattered signs. From server rooms to neon screens, defining what the data means. Digital Ascent, we're rising through the light, breaking every protocol in the dead of night. High bandwidth, no static in the view. Brent, Matt, and Brandon, bringing something new. Ascent. Cyber sentinels at the gate, they parse the culture and the state. From silicon chips to movie lore, they find the truth and search for more. No nodes are silent, no signals lost. Understanding every heavy cost. The three are one within the stream, translating every digital dream. Digital Ascent, we're rising through the light, breaking every protocol in the dead of night. High bandwidth, no static in the view. Brent, Matt, and Brandon, bringing something new. Ascent. Digital Ascent. Brent, Matt, and Brandon, let the signal rise. Protocol all clear. Brent locks the rhythm in the dark. Matt traces every circuit spark. Brandon maps the binary flow.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in.
Hello, hello.
I was waiting for the hellos to
What's up,
flood in.
folks?
Everyone's
Yep,
quiet.
Yep.
We've also got a special guest with us tonight. Anybody that's paying attention to the screen, anyways. We got Mike, and I won't get too into details with Mike yet. We'll let him have a more formal introduction here shortly, I'd imagine. So yeah, how's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Everybody looks super cheery. Brandon looks the most energetic tonight, I think. If I had to vote.
Well, it was the amount of icy hot that I had slathered. I shellacked my entire back with icy hot so that I could move. And if nothing else, it woke me up. It was a lot of pain.
Are you icy right now or are you hot? Which phase are you in?
No, we just there's like 2 seconds of icy and then like 30 minutes of hot
That's
with
true,
icy hot. I don't know if you've ever used it before, but
Rare
it's
occasions,
definitely
but yes.
more on the hot than the icy, and it's false advertising.
False
Yeah.
advertisement. Little teeny bit of icy, whole lot of hot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
That's fun times.
Yeah, Darling Destroy 716. I like that name, by the way. Welcome in.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome. Thanks for coming by. Let's jump into some roundtable.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. Who wants
What
to
you
go
been
first?
playing, Matt?
All right, I guess it's me. So I beat Star Wars Outlaws. Look, I guess stealth fighter games are not for me, or like stealth games are not for me. That game was very frustrating. Had some fun parts, but it mostly devolved into shooting. Um, the end was extremely frustrating for me, just like the way they chose to construct the final boss battles. I was just like, not playing in my strong suits doesn't work for me, whatever. But I did. It was not a DNF, so I did finish it. And I've been playing through Project Warlock, and I am determined to actually complete it this time. So we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to happen. And today I started playing Electron Flux, and so I've got a couple hours in that, and it's a neat little game. I dig it. I think it's going to get some more attention. What about you, Brandon?
Sorry, I was like, I've never heard of Project Warlock, so I was
It's
looking
like a
it
boomer
up.
shooter,
Just
man.
as, yeah,
It's a
which is
boomer
why
shooter.
I've
It's
never
pretty
heard
cool,
of it.
man. If
Boomer
like you took
shooters or
Doom,
shooters in general.
yeah, if you
Um,
took like Doom and then added spells, that's kind of what it would be like
it's
in my
got a
mind.
really nice art style. I like it a lot.
Hmm. It's pretty cool,
It'd be
man.
fun.
It's not
I
like
would suck
easy in
at it
my opinion.
regardless. Did you ask me what I've been playing? Let's see.
What have you been playing?
Forza Horizon 6 played quite a
Okay.
bit of
Yeah.
it. Not near as much as what Brent has played according to his time.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason is because I kind of fell into the Dwarf Fortress hole.
Oh
Just
no,
like
That's a
the
deep hole.
7 or 8
it's a deep hole,
dwarfs who
man.
fell into the water and drowned when I was trying to get a river to go through my fortress. I just ended up just once the ghosts started coming back because I couldn't get to their bodies to bury them. I was like, I'm just going to retire this fort and start over. Now that I know how water physics work a little bit more, because it didn't work out so well the way I was trying to do it. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Dwarf Fortress. I've tried to get into it God knows how many times. And, over a decade now, where I would be like, okay, let's try it again. I'd start watching tutorials and and for whatever reason, it just clicked this time. Partially it's because of the Steam release has definitely made it a lot more approachable. But I've tried a couple times since it came out on Steam and still hadn't quite got it. And then all of a sudden it was just like, oh, it's been 10 hours. And then I'm still playing this game. Now I couldn't move because of my back also. But I just sat there and did this and just clicked around. And
Super
it wasn't
stiff.
10, it was like 5. But I didn't move for 5 hours because I couldn't. And so I was just trying to make my dwarves happy. Right now, I've got 18 dwarves, and they're not happy. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong, guys. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Oh my god.
Okay, so
And then
that game's
Picross.
super deep. Can you like go to the dwarfs and just be like, "Why are you unhappy?" Basically, and it'll show you
Oh,
in
well,
the info
yes.
screen.
You can see all of the things that are making them unhappy. You can see their unmet needs. Now, but it's not very clear sometimes. Sometimes it might be they have a bad memory from getting caught out in the rain, or they want to spend more time with their family, or they want to get an item. They just feel like they need more things. And you're like, well, what kind of things? And then there's the little boy who got possessed and went to the crafts dwarf workshop, but he never got the things he needed to make the thing that he wanted to make, and he eventually just went insane. And was like, well, forget it. I'm not gonna. But it said when I clicked on him, because I was like, why is he not finished yet? And I clicked on him, and it just says that he's drawing pictures and muttering about quarries and skeletons. And I'm like,
That could mean anything.
I was like, I have skeletons and I have stone. Why aren't you making it? And eventually, after he went crazy, about an hour later, I get a little pop-up saying, Rumage has died from dehydration. I guess he just got so sad he wouldn't drink anything. And I'm like, and then his friend is freaking out because he saw his friend dead. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't win.
Wow.
I remember
losing is fun, I think, is the tagline for Dwarf Fortress. So
I remember watching a interview with the devs, and they said that there was a quote bug, then they couldn't figure out why the cats were getting drunk. The cats kept getting drunk. They couldn't figure out why the cats were getting drunk. And it's because it's so detailed that the problem was that the cats were getting beer on their paws as they were walking over spills, and then they were licking their paws as cats do, and therefore drinking the beer and then getting drunk. And it's like, man, that's so detailed. Pulslaw is asking if Dwarf Fortress is abandonware. It is not abandonware.
No.
It just released on Steam in a new pretty version. There is an older version of it, and I don't know if that's getting updated anymore, but there's a new version.
It is still getting
Steam.
updated, so you can get the free version of Bay 12 Games, which is like an ASCII version, and then there's like tons
like
of
a RimWorld style
plugins where you
version.
can like plug in, put tile packs onto it. The Steam version, basically, great interview with NoClip. They did a whole series on it, but basically one of the brothers was dealing with medical issues and needed money, and after 2 decades, they finally decided to sell the game, and so they went and put like graphics and a better UI and different stuff, because my God, it needed a better UI.
Oh yeah, you didn't love the ASCII graphics.
Awesome. Oh yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoy some good ASCII graphics. Rogue is my favorite in terms of visualization, but okay, yep, that's what I've been playing. Lots of Dwarf Fortress.
Darling Destroyer says, "Were they cute drunk kittens, though?" I think so. Most likely.
All kittens are cute. I almost said all kittens are drunk,
basically.
which is also somewhat true.
Milk drunk sometimes.
Yes. I don't know.
That's valid.
That's awesome, man. Maybe one day I'll do Dwarf Fortress. Brent, sir, what about you? Forza
probably got, I don't know, about 60 hours into that so far. And then I also bought, what did I buy on the Switch? I decided to buy it on the Switch versus other platforms. Mina the Hollower. Which
have you played it yet?
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, Mina the Hollower. It has like influences of like Gothic art and like Castlevania and like Legend of Zelda, like Link's Awakening and like A Link to the Past and stuff. Which A Link to the Past is by far my favorite Zelda game, anyways.
It's from the Yacht Club people.
Yeah, it's from Shovel Knight, from the guys that do Shovel Knight, the team that does Shovel Knight and all that. Super cool. Really, it's almost got like it's what it is, an open world side, your usual like scrolling sort of game, like top down scrolling game, but it's got like an Elden Ring vibe to it too, where like if you die, you drop the bones or whatever it is, the bone shards at that spot, and you have to get back. But if you haven't gotten a checkpoint for like 3 zones, your ass is going back, and you got to clear all the enemies up to that point again and get your crystal back. But if you die in the process of that, you lose everything, right? You lose all that stuff that you had. So it's that same concept. It's tough, man. I've probably got about 2 hours in it, and I was like, wow, this is challenging, but in a good way so far. It's not frustratingly so. And it's not a great game to play either if you're tired already. and you fire it up like late at night, laying in bed or something like that, you're gonna be pissed off.
No.
I guarantee you.
Yeah,
Right
no
now.
way.
I got my ass beat by a
Yeah.
boss like, I don't know, 4 times in a row before bed one night. Woke up first thing in the morning. I thought about it real quick. I was like, let me fire up the Switch, because the Switch just resumes back where you were at. I went in there and beat his ass first time, just like that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so it just, you got to be in the right state of mind for that game, and I'm
Right.
telling you. But
Yeah.
really, really cool. Highly, highly recommend. It's $20. It's like, it's not the most expensive thing in the world, and it seems to have a lot of playability. So that was one of the like sleeper things I had not been following at all, and it popped up, and I'm like, oh, this is badass. This is really cool. So that and Forza so far. This, most recently, anyways.
Let's see. Coleslaw asked, "What is the top wish listed game you all have?" Ooh, that's a good question.
I know that really is. What is on my Steam?
Yeah.
right
Top
now?
as in like the one
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the most.
Probably, I would say that's a fair
Oh,
question.
that's hard because I
Yeah.
typically don't really look forward to games.
Ooh, what?
I don't really think about it
That's
until
a man
they.
who's been let down too many times. That's what that is.
Yeah, right.
It is a byproduct of the complete and utter cynicism that I've developed over the years
Mhm,
that
mhm,
things aren't
mhm,
going to be good. No, I'm
mhm.
mostly joking. But the only one that I really had on my radar that I was legitimately looking forward to was Forza 6. I have tons on my wish list, but it's mostly things that I just want to remember that I want to play them at some point.
That's me too. That's what I use my wish list for. Forza would have been my
Yeah,
most recent
yeah.
one, but now that it's out, obviously it's not.
Yeah.
It's not my wish list anymore.
I think the one before Forza though was Baldur's Gate 3. Was the last time I was legitimately excited for a game to release.
For sure.
Oh no! I'm sorry.
Sure.
Slay the Spire 2. I forgot about it. That was also
Yeah,
a
Slay 2.
legit.
Yeah.
All
But
really good
but in my
games.
head it hasn't released yet. It's still like the early access. So Slay the Spire
Mhm.
2 is. But when they set the release date, I will be legitimately excited about it. Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
typically get too excited about things to come.
I mean, I
when
think
it comes to
Grand
games.
Theft Auto, for me, anyways, Grand Theft Auto goes without saying, but that's like the masses
Mhm.
for people into that, anyways. I'd say the soonish one in terms of it coming. I think it comes out actually in June, unless I remember incorrectly. Star Fox. That was kind of a cool announcement to me to see that popping up all of a sudden. So I already got that pre-ordered and ready to rock and roll. Look at Matt just shaking his head. Some of them bypass
No
the whole
pre-orders,
pre-order
bro.
rule. Nah, some of them bypass the pre-order rule, man. Nostalgia hits hard.
Not
for some
very
things.
many.
Not very many, but
for-
for me, Star Fox, I haven't played a Star Fox game. Like, I didn't do any of the ones that were on like GameCube and all that. I never played them.
Yeah.
So my last Star Fox would have been 64.
But
It's
brother,
been
it doesn't
about that
mean it's
long
going to be
since-
good.
Yeah.
Nintendo's pretty
Could
good
be
at their
bad.
remasters. They got a good track record. I'm cautiously
Okay.
optimistic.
Yeah. And it was
Okay,
$50.
I guess.
So like it's kind of like dodging that whole
Yeah.
like $70-$80 game bullet a little bit,
Yeah.
right? So
Man, doesn't that say 5 hours of playable content to you? Like when you how many
I
missions
mean,
are there going
the
to be?
original was only like 5 or 10 hours. So if it's a remake of it,
Oh.
then
if it
that's
look
what
if,
you're going to
That's
get.
what
if
you're
it
gonna
hits me in the
get.
feels, man, I don't even care. I mean, that's really where I'm at this day and age. Like if I feel good after playing it, like Dispatch was a good example of that. Even, but that was $30.
Yeah.
But like that game
Oh,
felt
yeah.
really, really, really good, and I loved every minute of it. It could have been 2 hours, and I'd have been like, that was damn good. Like I've made this argument many times
Yeah.
on this podcast, where like I can take the family to the movies and spend $100 plus
Yeah.
for an hour and a half of my time and their time, and not to mention snacks and all that crap, and it's like 40, $50 on the game, even 70, depending on what the game is, especially something multiplayer. I don't even feel bad about it anymore if I put good time into it. Like Forza, I spent a piss load on Forza, man. I bought the premium edition. Even if I quit right now
Yeah.
at 60 hours, I'd feel good about the experience. I've had a really damn good time with the game. That's just how I feel about it. 60 hours for
agree
120
with
bucks. That's not bad, man. Not in the grand scheme of things. So
Now, I will say though that the opposite is true too. If I spend money on a game, even if I don't spend much, and I hate it, and I don't enjoy it, I also can't stand that experience.
Right.
But I do agree
'cause
with
your
what
time's
you're saying,
valuable.
Brent.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, time is vital.
Mike, what have you been
That's the
playing?
main reason, though. I typically don't buy anything that isn't like on sale, part of a bundle.
Right.
Like it's been out for 3 years,
Mhm.
and then it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forza Horizon 6 was an exception, but so was Forza Horizon 5 and Horizon
Mhm.
4, and I think 3, but I'm not sure about it. It gets a little fuzzy as to which 2 or 3, which one I played first. But yeah, 4, 5, and 6, I pre-ordered each one of those.
Super good. Top of my wish list is probably, I'm cautiously optimistic about Subnautica 2. I
yeah.
really enjoyed speaking of games that I thought respected my time and were worth the money, but also weren't like 40-hour games unless you got, obsessive about them. So there was some studio drama, some leadership had some problems during development, and that usually
Yeah,
impacts
I
the
saw
quality of
that.
the game. So I'm a little cautious. I'm not just wildly excited about it, but I'm cautious. I have high hopes. I'm looking forward to trying that one out. I know that we've got several Halo fans. Speaking of multiplayer games, that hours and hours and hours. I think we got a few thousand hours in Halo Reach online. And I was playing Bungie's latest marathon. I've been enjoying it. It was worth the $50 I spent on it. I feel like it doesn't quite live up to Halo Reach, Halo 3, some of their early work, but it's still, I quite enjoy it when I need to shoot something. Also, so I'm an indie dev, and one of the things that I like to do is get into the weeds of indie games and see if I can discover stuff that either people haven't found yet, or I'm also really fascinated by the idea of the first-person shooter real-time strategy crossover. And there's a couple of interesting titles in that genre that I found very interesting. Probably my favorite of the lot is called Eximus Sees the Frontlines. It's very, I don't know if you guys have played Crisis, where you got the kind of the power armor and you're sneaking through stuff and shooting stuff. And so it's like, what if you had 6 guys in Crisis armor, and then one of the guys was also like doing a real-time strategy select, so you can tell the players where to go and give them a waypoint, and they may or may not listen to the commander, and then you can like move the jeeps around, and then the players can have rocket launchers, and it's super fun. So that one went well. Angels Falls First also works pretty well. I tried Silica, which is also in that genre, and I tried these about 8 months ago. There's been a couple of updates since then, so maybe they fixed it, but Silica had really good real-time strategy interaction, but the infantry combat was really lackluster. No secondary weapons, no sprint button, no grenades, and so it was really fun for 2 of the 6 people who were playing. Not great. And then also, are we ready to roll into some of the other stuff?
Yeah, we can.
Cool.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's rock and roll, man.
Let's do it. So I, of course, have been playtesting and playing a game that my studio, Flightless Squid Studios, made called Electron Flux. Matt mentioned it a little bit earlier. So we are Flightless Squid Studios is a studio where we build games driven by passion and compassion. Very much like Digital Ascent, we have a mission very much around education and helping people break into the industry. We pair industry veterans with people who are interested in breaking into the industry and building their resume, and fostering the capable professional skills while creating games that are fun to play. And if you've ever, I presume Brent, Brandon, and Matt, you guys have all written code at some point.
Badly so, but yes.
Well,
I thought
exactly.
you said
Right?
something about COVID, and I was like, oh yeah, I had COVID.
So,
Brandon, man.
I'm just saying, I can't hear.
have you ever written a bug? Of course.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
been so frustrated
you know.
at that bug, you wish you could just shoot the bug.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I've had some of that.
So Electron Flux is a tower defense game. I'm going to share my screen real quick.
Yeah.
Our team's quite proud of it. make sure I share the right screen. Don't.
That is important. Yes, please. Don't share anything you don't want to share, please.
So this is Electron Flux. It's a roguelite tower defense where you have a circuit, and the circuit, of course, has bugs, and you get to shoot the bugs and blow them up. And I'm really proud of the generative circuits. We're creating those. I just forget the programmatically, and our lead programmer for that project did a really good job of coming up with. There's a new circuit every time, just like you were talking about Rogue earlier. There's a new dungeon every time, and there's also you get new towers that you can play with, and there's some really fun towers you can use. Like my personal favorite's probably the Seeker Tower that fires like seeking missiles. But we've also got like Fork Lightning and Circuit Tracer that fires lasers across the path as opposed to directly at the adversaries. So, and just like you were saying, the dirty little secret for indies is we don't actually want you to buy the game at full price either, which is why we're happy to announce the Digital Ascent sale will be going on this week and next week. So 50% off. And you heard it here first. Thanks for tuning in to Digital Ascent.
Technically, I heard it 2 minutes ago when I bought the game.
Well, thank you so much for your support.
Which I was glad it was half off.
That's fantastic.
That's great.
Yeah,
It's been a very long time since I have. I love tower defense. It's one of those that, like, every few years I will find a game and then I will like be obsessed with it for a month or two, and then I don't play another tower defense for a couple years. But I was looking at some games earlier this week, so I'm excited to try it out.
Yeah, I am as well.
Awesome. Thank you
How
so
long,
much.
try it out.
so how long
it's
has
a lot of fun.
Oh God, keep wanting to say flaming squid. That's not it.
Flightless.
Light. I was like, something's not right here. How long has Flightless Squid? It could be flaming too. But how long has your studio been making games?
So we're rolling into year 5. Electron Flux was a 3-year project, and we'll get to this in a little bit, but we are still making games. And Electron Flux was released a couple of years ago. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Highly recommend. It's a really good gear shift away from doing, like, I deeply love doing the security work that we get to do, and it's nice to go work on something that's not on fire.
Yeah, just extremely buggy.
So what part?
Right.
What part of the game development do you do? Just like everything, or do you work on a specific, like just the coding, just the art, just something?
So that's one of the really nice things about being on a talented, passionate team is we've got a very eclectic group of skills. For Electron Flux, I was a programmer, and I happen to be the CEO. I do all the boring paperwork that makes sure that we can't get sued, and file for, hey Steam, can you put our game on your platform and pay all the dues there, for this current project that we're on, I'm the game designer, which is a lot of fun. Kind of getting to realize your ideas and communicate them across the team. We're very lucky to have an incredible artist who actually happens to have been former Sucker Punch. She worked on Tsushima. Yeah. And we have a elite test engineer, ex-Bungie, which is very cool. And we've got some talented artists, talented programmers. This new project we're using a how do I describe producer that has a different skill set than we did on Electron Flux, and that shakeup's been extremely positive. She has the fabled scope hammer, and one of the fun things about building a game is you can do anything, and the thing is, if you have a bunch of passionate, talented people in a room, they don't just want to do anything, they want to do everything, right? Like every game you've ever played, you go, oh, I wish we could do blah, blah, blah. Well, if we had infinite time, we could, and it's so easy for
Yeah.
us as developers to be like, well, the time's going to be and then our producer, we have the little Discord sound effect, scope, scope hammer. And of course, we just got done with Game Jam this weekend, and so she said several times, scope hammer. We'll be having this conversation about, and then it'll do and blah 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 blah, and we'll do and scope hammer. Yeah, which is good because then we actually get the game out.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
necessary.
right?
It sucks, but
So-
it's necessary. Yeah.
Yeah,
Scope creep
yeah.
is real, no matter the project.
Yep.
Yeah,
Totally agree. You need
So-
somebody holding a scope hammer.
yes.
Yeah.
She does a very good job. She's walks a very good balance between letting us put the glee and the interest and the approachability functions in the game that make it accessible to everybody, while also, keeping us somewhat contained and cat herded.
Yeah. Before I forget about it, I do want to say too, thank you guys. Just for anybody watching, either live, watching the VOD later. We're gonna figure out. I want to figure out a decent way to kind of get these circulated and out. But Flightless Squid Studios did give us some keys for Electron Flux as well. And so I'm looking forward to getting those out there and getting these in the hands of people that are actually going to enjoy it. Like I said, we'll
Yeah,
figure out
for sure.
something. I didn't really have like a giveaway system set up for this, and I didn't want to risk doing that either because
Well, hey, hold on a second. Let me refund the game. And then, kidding.
Wow.
I'm only kidding.
Brandon.
We did provide some of the keys with the expectation that Brent, Matt, and Brandon would get them. So
No, I'm 100% joking.
yeah, I'm like 9,000% more than willing to help support indie devs. So I also
Thank you
bought
so
the
much.
keys. So no, I want to get these out to some folks in the Digital Ascent Discord. We'll figure out. I'll probably get like a Discord bot going and do it there and figure out
Do
how to
something
get it
there.
circulated. But yeah, so thank you guys for that. I
So-
really appreciate that.
Yeah, I do want to say I did grab the game, and I did use one of your keys, so I guess I'm
Oh,
a terrible supporter.
that's why we gave them to you.
I'll play.
He
with
said
it.
man.
this is for you three, and I said okay, I take that at face value.
Yeah.
And so what I will say is I immediately started playing it though, because we had talked
Yeah.
about it previously. And I thought it looked cool, so I immediately started playing it. First thing I want to say is that it works pretty well on the deck, and that was nice because it doesn't say Steam Deck verified, and you never know what you're going to get when that happens.
Yeah.
But hey, man,
Mhm.
it booted up. It works great, man. I found you can run the entire thing one-handed. I mean, it just awesome. Like, it is a great deck game. It takes almost no power to run. And that's awesome because you run the battery life forever with a game like this, like a perfect flight game. You know what I mean? And overall, it's a lot of fun. I like tower defense. I don't play it very often, but I like the setup that you got going here and the roguelite type setup that it's going. And like I said, I think it's a lot of fun. I have put 2 hours into it today or something. So.
Thank you so much.
You know what I mean? Yeah, man, no problem. You guys have created something really special there, and
Thank you.
yeah, I like it, and I look forward to seeing what you guys produce in the future. I'll be
Thank you
definitely
so much.
keeping you in mind. I've dropped the Flightless Squid Studios link to Steam store in chat, so if people are watching and you want to go see what they're working on, or what they have, go ahead and go check that out. I dropped Electron Flux directly in the chat, so you can go get that there. Also, for what it's worth, it goes on my recommend list. So
Thank you.
cool
And
game. Yeah, no problem,
big-
man.
Big shout out to Photon Disruptor, who's a member of the community who tested it on the Steam Deck. Thank you, Photon. You rule. And speaking of keeping
Awesome.
an eye on the future,
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited to announce our next project is going to be another Steam game called Bathtub Battles.
All right, let's see what we got here.
And Bathtub Battles is going to be a 3D third-person split-screen couch competitive, squeaky clean fun game where you get to choose your favorite bath toy, whether it's a ducky or a toy submarine or a squeaky narwhal or We'll see how many toys get past the scope hammer.
Right.
And you get to swim them around in the bathtub or in several of the fun maps designed by Flightless Squid, and squirt each other or shoot shrieking eels or lay sea mines to blow each other up, fighting over
that's awesome.
the supremacy of whoever's in the bathtub. One of the things that our team sorely misses is that era that I think we probably grew up in, where you could play, couch competitive, like the original Super Smash Brothers or the original 007 GoldenEye on that N64, or Star Fox, and I'm really excited that the next generation of kids can have that opportunity. You just download it on Steam, plug any Switch or Xbox controller. It also works with mouse and keyboard, and get to syncing your buddies.
That's awesome.
So does
Yeah, that
either
sounds cool.
Sounds cool.
person have like a special attack where they can like pee in the bathtub? Because if not, and you can get it past the scope hammer, I'm just saying.
The whole map just turns yellow.
Where's my unsubscribe button? I want to unsubscribe.
All right, hit Brandon with the scope hammer. He's being hit with the scope hammer.
Bang! Thank you, darling destroyer, in here with the hammer.
Yeah.
Let's see. Just so you know, Polslaw says that they want to commit submarine warfare in the tub. I gotta be honest, I'm not sure what that looks like at the moment. So, okay, do you envision that you're going to be like sinking ships type of thing? Is it going to be like warship? Like, gosh, what is that World of Warships? There's that game, yeah. But like with like rubber duckies, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you select the yellow submarine, you can dive below the waves, and your basic attack is going to be firing little torpedoes
awesome.
that explode with little steam, and you sink your ducky, sink your narwhal. The narwhal, of course, has a dash forward and stab.
Yeah,
the,
of course,
the narwhal
yeah.
horn, much like the sword from Halo. The ducky has a little squirt, and there's a bunch of power-ups that you can pick up. There's a tidal wave that'll like knock toys over, or it'll help flush submerged toys up where the ducky or the other toys can kind of get to them. There's a lot of very much like, if you played the battle parts of Mario Kart, there's some
like
serious
that.
inspiration there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how big of a
That's awesome.
leap in, for the lack of a better word, scope was this from Electron Flux to this? It feels like a big, but was it a linear progression, or did y'all take a leap forward in doing this?
That's a great question. There were some significant changes to our process that got a little bit more complicated. Now we got to do 3D art and 3D animation as opposed to 2D. But a lot of the design, both systems are using the Unity engine, and there was that moment about a year ago when the Unity engine had the legal scare of, pray we don't alter the agreement anymore. That was interesting. And we decided to stick through that, and the engine has been good to use. And so we still program in .NET C#. That has been pretty straightforward. The journey from pre-production, concepting, game design tools, build, test, user acceptance testing and balance to try to get the game to feel right, release on the Steam pipeline, that's all been the same. And because our art director has extreme experience in the AAA game industry with 3D games, we were able to make that leap. It's a leap. And some of our junior artists, I think, are feeling that, but they're handling it very well, I think. Yeah.
Nice. And did y'all? I know you added Lady Banhammer, but did y'all have to add any additional people to the team, or is it other than the producer
Yeah, we lost one or two people from Electron Flux. They were just like, I'm really glad I had the experience, and also building a game takes a lot of time out of my life, and I want to go do some other stuff. We had a couple of other life events, so we brought on our test engineer was new. We started doing automated tests, which was a big leap for us, which was really cool. We had we did have a producer on Electron Flux who was also our writer, and she decided to take a step back from producing because having tried it, like she followed through really well, but she wanted to try something different. I went from programmer to designer. Our designer went from designer to programmer. So that was kind of a fun flip flop, and we added a couple of artists and programmers. We had a new sound guy who's also absolutely fantastic. So I'm really excited about the what we had. Because it was Game Jam, we got a whole bunch of new content in the game just this weekend. And our sound guy was absolutely prolific. It was like dozens of sound items, sound effects. So
when will
Awesome.
when will we be able to wishlist this game on Steam?
That's a great question, and I wish I could answer you, but I promised my development team that because that I wasn't going to give a firm timeline. So watch Steam. We'll make a big announcement under the Flightless Squid studio name, and we'll probably come into your guys' Discord if you'll allow us and say, hey, remember us? Well, now the game's ready.
Yeah.
What about
let
the
us know, for
Flaming
sure.
Squid name as well?
Yeah, you're.
Because that's a good name.
The sister company, Flaming Squid.
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah. I think that's going to be our indie rock band offshoot. We'll have our sound guys start working on that, and we'll come out to Nashville again
That's
and
fun.
we'll start playing some of our. Come see Flaming Squid at. What's a good venue out there?
Oh
Exit
gosh. What did you
Where?
say, Matt?
Without a doubt. That's an Exit.
Oh,
That's where I want.
yeah.
I want to see. I want to see. I want to see Flaming Squid at Exit In, man.
There we
It
go.
feels
All
like the
right.
right spot
Yeah,
for
man.
for a thing like that. So I've got like a few venues that I like, and then I have some I like a lot. And
Yeah, yeah.
Exit In's on the list of venues I like a lot. It's like just like a little seedy, and I like my venues a little, just like little bit. A little bit. Am I going to get stabbed? Just a little bit.
A
Though.
little touch
Yeah.
of the adrenaline running high the entire time you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's that. Like, I don't think I'm going to get stabbed, or I wouldn't go there. But like, there's times I've been there where I'm like, that's an interesting person that's in the same bar as I am. I should make sure to remember where they are. Oh man.
Now, at the risk,
Paul-
because I have a lot of thoughts and questions about video games and this whole process, but I do know we also want to get to security and a lot of the other side of your life to a degree. So, wanted to point out we're gonna have to transition, but anything else that you wanted to mention about? My
Well,
brain
Darling
doesn't
Destroyer
work.
said something about some art, perhaps, from the game.
Oh yes, I do have some art.
Do we have some art?
We do.
And Pulselaw said, "What's the engine?"
The
Unity.
engine is Unity.
I know this.
6.
That's my fault. I thought that was in response to that question when Mike mentioned it the first time.
Oh, that's my bad.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know the
was.
timeline on that. I don't have timestamps enabled on my chat right now for some reason, but
Make sure I'm sharing the right thing here. Yeah, so here's some art we have to show.
Oh,
to
it's cute. I
battles.
love it.
Thank you.
Look at the
So here
narwhal.
on the left we have top right corner is the narwhal model as our artists are mocking it up
Awesome.
and skinning it so that it fits to the rig and animates correctly. The two on the left are the concept art for the sea mine, which is a cute little puffer fish that goes kablooey. And then we've got some of the bubble visual effects that
Yeah.
we're also working on.
I really want to know what sound the puffer fish makes when he blows up, because it sounds like it would be adorable.
It is. It is incredibly adorable.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Love
Man,
this.
my kids are gonna like love playing this game. They're gonna beg me. They're gonna beg me to stop beating them in it, and I probably won't, but they will. Like they'll love playing it, like for sure. I think
Yeah,
I'm gonna like it. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I
Very
agree.
cute. Very cool.
very much designed for playing together with your family and your kids.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like it, man. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Do we
Before
want to
we
do?
move on to, sorry, go ahead.
Do we want to do one or two quick questions from Brandon about game dev? Because I am here for both, and then we kind of
Yeah.
roll into some hacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go
Go
for it,
ahead.
Brandon. Okay, I'll
No,
go.
I'm
Do you have-
really curious about the. Yeah, stop talking so I can talk, Matt. So, what's the process for getting started in Steam? I'm curious, like who you contact, or like is there just a online forum and it's like, hey, I want to develop?
It's pretty straightforward. Steam makes it extremely easy, and I know there's a lot of complaints, and there's a good discussion to have there that Steam takes a pretty steep cut. I believe it's 30%. But one of the reasons they do that is because they make it so easy to get sales on it, almost every continent on the planet. You just go to steam.partner.com. There is a form. You gotta, sign up with the billing, sign up with you do need an address because that changes the tax codes and stuff. And then they will take $100 deposit, partly to fund the infrastructure for the platform and the development and the upkeep. Frankly, partly just to keep people serious
Yeah.
about it, so to cut down on shovelware. And then there are more sophisticated delivery pipelines that you can automate. But if you want to, you can just zip your executable and post it through the Steam pipe. They have a tool that's a command line tool. And you just, cut your build, clean it up, test it, please. And then, and then post it and publish it, and it's Bob's your uncle. Like there is some art assets you need for the store page and the announcements, and but it's all it's web forms. Basically, anybody can do it.
What's the most challenging part of the whole process? Not necessarily Steam, although that's in there, but just taking Electron Flux. I guess bathtub battles as well. Like if you were to like pick the biggest challenge, what stands out to you?
God, this is such a good question. I feel like we've kind of talked about it a lot, and I don't want to harp on it, but one of the other questions that we talked about prior to the show is how do you get into gaming and developing games, and I think more people should do that because I think it's a great way to learn the technical skills that you can then take to other industries that desperately also need people, or games. And it took me probably 10 years to learn to scope my game small enough to finish, or even to play. I wanted, when I was 14, I wanted to make Skyrim or Oblivion by myself, right? Like every fantasy author wants to be Tolkien, right? And you just don't, like, you want your first one to be an opus, and the harder you scope small, the more games you release, and by the time you build your second game, you're a completely different artist, developer, craftsperson, and so if my advice is also the hardest thing is scope small. The next hardest thing is dream big, but most people don't need help with that. So
That's fun.
What was the first game you finished? Like
probably Electron Flux, actually. It took me an embarrassingly long time to get to. Electron Flux is the first game that I shipped. There was a couple of when I was a CS student. There was a couple of hot messes that, like, looking back at the code, I was like, "Oh, dude, sweetie, you did know what a for loop was." Like, the code files.
Why did you do that?
just 30,000 lines, hand jammed spaghetti mess. But that's how I learned. And I would encourage. There's a lot of developers and technical people who feel like they have to do it right the first time. And one of the things that I've learned as an AppSec engineer is that people do it wrong first. No, basically, nobody has clean code come out of them the first time. Solve the problem and then clean it up. Craftsmanship is an iterative process. And so
That is true no matter, I mean, really no matter what, like in every aspect of life. But I found that like my bread and butter is more on the infrastructure side. And I have found with everybody that gets into the field, you know, the first time you do something, it's the first time you're doing it, and you're going to make mistakes. It's not going to be great, but eventually you're that guy who the racking the server and the cabling is just a work of art. But because you've done it enough, so that's so true in every aspect of IT in particular.
Yeah.
Some good questions and good answers. Yeah.
Thanks so much for the discussion about video games.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Well, says 4 loops broke me in my ArcPy class. I struggled in my first programming class. I did not have a good time. It was a C++ class, and everyone else in that class, like it was intro to programming, but everybody else in that class clearly had programming experience but me. And so like I came in blind, like I didn't know how to declare a variable. Like I didn't know why you wanted to declare a variable. Like the only variable I knew about was from algebra. And and so I ate it hard like all semester long. As everyone else was like, this is really easy, just write a for loop. And I'm like, do a what?
Okay, dude.
How do I get my data back after I iterated over it? Yeah, he said Postlaw said being the only new person in the intro class is a vibe. Yeah, it was a very painful vibe. One I did not like. In fact, I hated it so much that at the time I was like, this is awesome. I'm never writing another script again. And I'll never take a job with that I need to write a script, which is ironic because in my current position, I have like 200 bespoke scripts that I've written to do 200 different bespoke like tasks at this point, right? And like that, it's big change from I'm never gonna write again. Now I like genuinely enjoy programming. The days that like I can set aside all my management tasks and just code a problem away and be like, all right, I'm never going to spend 4 hours solving that problem again. And now it's honestly working with like meshing up my code with AI, like ingestion and like data processing, and being like literally like I've like woken up one day and was like, I don't want to do this task ever again. And an AI could probably do an all right job. And I data pipelined, like I basically pipelined my data from Intune through an AI and then took back like an HTML report and automatically put it in the ticketing system. And I was like, awesome. That's 2 hours a week I never spend again. Done.
Yeah.
And like, man, those are like some of the best wins in the job, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It comes with risk though, right? Because we're writing all this code and we're using like other people's libraries and stuff like that. Cause like I'm not gonna write NumPy or gosh, I can't think of the deck. I'm not going to write data frames
Pandas.
myself. Yep, exactly. There you go. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for. Pandas. I'm not going to like I use pandas in every single script, but I'm not going to write my own pandas. And so, bridging us between the last topic and the next topic, like, what are your thoughts on supply chain management as it relates to code? And like you're dealing with all this open source stuff, but you've got to protect your shit, but you definitely can't do it without the open source code. So like, what do? I don't know. So
yeah, let's get into it.
So that brings us to our next topic, the supply chain pain. which feels like a problem that's going to continually get worse and worse and worse.
Yep. So we're getting
So,
into the areas where we got some potential for legal liability. So I'm going to do my standard spiel, which is I consent to this recording for the use of Digital Ascent. Probably should have said that at the beginning because I did consent at that point. All
mhm.
opinions that I share are mine and don't necessarily reflect those of any of the many organizations I uh, belong to or support or subscribe to or volunteer with, which means I can give you the straight dope. It's my opinion, not a company's
Straight
or
dope.
and I'm gonna. Also, I'm gonna talk about different companies, many products, both open source and proprietary. None of these are product endorsements. I'm not getting money from anybody to talk about this. And that also means that I'm assuming no liability for defending your networks or your environments in the way that I suggest. I am going to make some recommendations, but it's up to any security practitioner to interpret for the environment that they are responsible for or that they are attempting to secure. Further, none of the information that I'm discussing should be an indicator of any sort of securities trade or stock indications. I have some vague idea of where the technology is going and where the threat actors are going. They're certainly not specific enough to trade on, and I have even less understanding of what the stock market is going to do. So if you want to use the information that I'm giving you to trade on, that is on your own head. Thank you for my preamble. I feel a lot more comfortable saying things like, "Oh yeah, the supply chain are a mess, dude," and I don't. So I got to meet Matt speaking at B-Sides Nashville about Shai-Hulud, and the first Shai-Hulud dropped about 10 months ago now, and it has been a wild 10 months in InfoSec. Like Glasswing happened, and the Trivy thing happened, and a dozen other high-profile events happened, and so I'm sitting there the week before going to B-Sides about to talk about this, and I kind of figured no one's going to come show up to my talk, right? Because who wants to hear about an incident that was almost a year ago? And then Shai-Hulud Waves 3 and 4 dropped that week. And I was like, oh. And then we get into team. I don't want to spoil. You've done some fantastic research that I've seen.
Thank you.
But to kind of back up on it, so the mile high view is the industry as a whole is not going to stop reusing open source code or third party code. We're just not, because technology companies competing against each other in an open market. The advantage that you get from using somebody else's code is just never going to go away. You will always be late to the market if you're trying to write everything yourself. Furthermore, there are things like OpenSSL that should be publicly available for everybody to read, right? In order to understand and be assured that you have the privacy from these crypto libraries, you need to be able to have it be open for everybody to see and audit and make sure that, omniscient Mallory's not sticking their fingers in, or that somebody's checked in a backdoor there. So open source is going to be a thing, and the risk of, and further, our dependency trees are going to continue to grow in depth, and that if we can figure out how to handle this problem of, we want to use package A depends on package B depends on package C. Somebody checked something wrong into package C, and now I gotta wait for B to patch so I can wait for A to patch so that I can patch. If we can solve that problem, then we can eliminate this new and rising threat.
That's a hard
And
problem to solve, man.
yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
hard problem to solve, but there are techniques to reduce that risk, if not eliminate it.
Really.
Yeah, I think
Like
so.
it just seems like there's multiple problems here. One is that you've got these layers upon layers upon layers of of dependencies, right? I mean, to me, that's like the key problem is that, okay, I use pandas, but like pandas isn't completely built from scratch either.
Nope.
And,
Nope.
when I write my script and I say I use pandas, you know what I mean? Like my software that detects these things, goes, oh, I see that you have pandas, but they don't go, okay, well, NumPy is in pandas. So I should check
Right.
NumPy also. That's just an example. I don't know if NumPy is in pandas, but like maybe it is.
I believe it is.
And yeah, there you go.
If
I
you
figured it
want,
was a
I absolutely love Flask is an amazing package for writing web applications in Python.
Mhm.
If you a lot of AppSec tools, like custom in-house automation, is written on Flask and then stood up as a
Mhm.
service, and then you
Yep.
can do your data piping and vulnerability management scripts and auto cut tickets and fun stuff like that. Uh, and it has, as a web server, depends on requests, which is the most
Yep.
popular Python library for sending and getting web requests, which of course are open to all of the web tampering vulnerabilities.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
so it's constantly, if you have a Flask server, you've got to constantly patch. Highly recommend using Dependabot to automate those patches, which creates a problem in the supply chain, but solves what I feel is still the even bigger problem, which is known vulnerabilities, CVEs, because outdated libraries need to be
They
patched.
get them.
Yep.
Yeah, but of course, there's a problem that if you actually patch them, that your stuff's going to stop working because you had to patch, away a feature
Yep.
or something. And like,
Yep.
it's something I remember dealing with, like going through some of the Python libraries, is there was some stuff in like 3.7 that like I was using, and then in like 3.11, like it was gone,
Yep.
and I had to make that decision. Well, this is before AI came out, and it's like, shit, how do I refactor my code? Or
Yeah.
do I just keep running the vulns because
Yeah.
I need 3.7? And so very, very challenging stuff there for sure. And once again, as a security practitioner, it feels like so hard to keep track of like everything that's in your environment, because it's not just what people are coding, it's whatever third party software that you have, and a lot of it's not open source and they're not going to tell you. And you just have to rely on them that they do a good job with their software bill of materials. And like, I'll be honest, I don't believe, like, I have yet to meet a company where I'm like, man, what an awesome software bill of materials you have. That's so thorough. Like, I know people that are in third party risk management that don't even ask anymore because they asked
Yeah.
for like a year, and everybody just like told them they didn't know what an SBOM was, or like laughed, and like they got no responses. It was wild times there.
Yeah.
I don't know, very hard.
Yeah. You said something very interesting, which is they're not always going to tell you, which I
Hmm.
think which is absolutely true, and it's not a lot of people get to that. That's level two of the problem, right? Level one of the problem
Hmm.
is just admit that we're using somebody else's code, and we need to do
Yeah.
something about it, right? There's another B-side speaker, I believe his name was Ben, had a really good analogy, which is uh, as security practitioners and developers, we need to explain to people coming into our industry and people who are already into our industry, and um, managers for whom management is their strong
Mhm.
suit, and development is maybe not, that just because it's open source doesn't mean it's free. It's a lot like Ben's analogy, which was amazing, was if a third party vendor is like having lumber delivered to you, open
Hmm.
source is like going out into the forest, cutting a tree down, and bringing it back. And if you're building a
Yeah.
log cabin, yeah, you might not need to treat that tree much, but you still got to check the tree for termites before you stick it in your log cabin.
Yep.
Uh, and I loved that. That stuck with me, and I hope that
It's good.
everybody tells everybody. Um, and so, yeah, like some of these open source maintainers are like a single person, and that single person might know the domain expertise of the library that they're providing very well, and probably don't have the security expertise that you do. And they certainly don't have the financial resources if you're working at a large enterprise or even a small enterprise to either bring to bear industry tooling or provide a security practitioner's deep understanding of the things that could go wrong with this library. And so I think that's kind of getting to that level too is, okay, now that I know that I have vulnerability, or not vulnerability, now that I know that I have third-party libraries, open source libraries, and I'm going to do something about it, what do I do? And my answer is going to be scanning, testing. Scanning is just testing for automated testing for security, right? It's maybe there's a little bit more to it than that, but so what I highly recommend is for companies that are a medium business or above. If you're more than 10 people, then and you're going to use open source at scale. Like if you are somehow managing to limit the open source that you're bringing into like 5 packages or less, this is probably going to be overkill. There are some edge cases or some industries, especially if you're working on very niche, not like build automation where you've got like arms and armatures and stuff, but like SCADA stuff where it's your open source footprint is very small. In those cases, you probably actually can just have a security consultant or an expert just look at those 5 packages when you update. And if you're updating physical air-gapped machines, this probably doesn't make sense. But for SaaS companies, for software where you're going to use hundreds of packages, if you have an opinion on microservice architecture, it's time to go get some open source repository where you're going to take the bits of the binaries that you're going to use as linked libraries, as open source libraries, even if you're building them yourself. And it's time to manage those libraries in a repository. And then layer 2 is it's time to scan those for security. And so if you're in a large company and you've got lots of money to throw at that problem, the 2 competitors in the space are JFrog, the company, has a tool called Artifactory, and it calls all these binaries and linked libraries artifacts. And then they sell a add-on with it called X-Ray, and X-Ray pulls the libraries down, scans them actively for security vulnerabilities, whether that's dynamic scanning or shells out to like antivirus APIs or whatever you need, and then says, yes, this is safe, or no, this isn't. And then if you configure your developers or your CI/CD build pipeline to point to that Artifactory, and it tries to pull a poison package, then it goes, no love, and then stops it. And then if a developer, the other tool is the company Sonatype has a tool called Nexus, and you just can't get Nexus without security scanning, which I think is pretty mature.
Yeah, right.
And then as a developer, if you're trying to pull down a net new package and you're configured to point to these open source repositories, it'll say, hey, I don't have that package yet. Hold on a minute. It'll shell out to wherever the public internet repository, pypy.org or pkg.go or what have you, pull it down, and it'll say, hang on, I got to scan this, scan it, and then provide it to you if it's safe.
Man, the scary stuff about that is that, I mean, like, that's like, don't get me wrong, like, that's good. All of that, like, that's good fundamental stuff that stops a lot of pain, right?
Yeah.
But the scary stuff is that it's still not going to save you from something like the XZ Utils situation that I love to bring up, where it happened, I think it was last year around this time, so it's probably been about a year. And a Microsoft researcher uncovered that the XZ Utils package in its beta branch was like, it was allowing you to show up to SSH because it handles some of the encryption decryption there, I think.
Yeah,
And if
there's
you
some
had the
runoff delay
right,
there.
yeah, and if you had the right certificate, you had root access to the machine via SSH, and that was it. It just scanned every packet coming in and said you have like the magic cert, and if you did, then like you were God on the machine. And like there's no amount of like static code analysis that is going to save you from when somebody commits something that looks like totally legitimate code. You know what I mean? But it's still a backdoor. And it's really terrifying. Right? Because that, I think, I'm sure XEUtils, like, I mean, I don't know, but like XUtils is probably doing code analysis. They're, that's a really important system for like a lot of other systems. I imagine they get some sort of funding at this point. And
After that, I sure hope so.
yeah, right, man. Like that was so
Well,
close to every single Linux system in the world
oh
having
yeah,
pain. It
oh
was
yeah.
so close. Like,
Um,
that was wild. I refer to it as quote the greatest hack that ever happened. You know what I mean? Like
uh,
it's you're like
that's a
maybe.
whole nother discussion.
Yeah, right,
And
right,
please invite me back on the podcast if you guys decide to go down the greatest hacks in history.
Hacks.
Uh,
Oh, man, it sucks, right? Because and it feels like the problem, like we as practitioners are expected to solve this problem. Like my company expects me to solve for this issue, right?
right,
And
because
like I'm sure
yeah,
Brandon's company expects him to solve for the issue also, and to some degree Brent's also, right?
right.
And at the end of the day, it's like, how much control do I have against the XB util hack? You know what I mean? That can sink any boat it wants. Don't put anything on the internet. That's how you solve it. No more websites. All done.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Solved all the vulnerabilities, boss. Hey,
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
I'll tell you what. We're just going to turn off email,
Yeah.
and we're not going to have any web facing anything.
Uh,
And like my company's going to be super secure now, and that'll be the end of it.
Brandon, I think
No, you're
you're
on mute, dog.
talking, but you're muted.
You're on mute.
I think at some point you have to take to heart the HIPAA wording doctrine of reasonable, and you just have to do your best.
Yeah.
Like, because you can't stop everything, but you can be informed as much as possible to understand where can your efforts be best put with the
Mhm.
resources you got.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that's also very hard. It's like you have a finite amount of resources. What do you put towards securing your stuff? And so, like me, I'm just trying to follow some of what y'all are talking about from the standpoint of like the development side and I'm thinking from my standpoint, I got to go out and find a company that can help me. Like I'm like, okay, what? Because I know I don't have the skill set and I don't have anybody on my team that is security. Like, I don't have a security department. I need to hire a security department. That's my. And so when you're looking at that, so what is y'all's opinions on how to find good partners, if that makes sense?
That's a very good question.
Because like I'm never going to be in a position where I care about care is a strong word, about where it's relevant for me to know what y'all were just talking about figuring out. It's tangentially relevant to understand what y'all were just talking about, but only tangentially, because that's just not my field. That's not what I'm doing. I'm hiring people who are hiring people who are hiring people and hoping that supply chain
Right.
isn't getting screwed up.
It's kind of. Sorry, Brandon.
Go ahead. No. I'd like to get y'all's thoughts from y'all's standpoint of that. I have my own opinions because that's what I'm supposed to be decently good at. But curious what y'all think about that.
I was going to say it's kind of a crappy answer, but I think that the correct answer is good contract management. And so when something does go wrong and it's someone that you depend on, but it's not your fault, that you're still covered by your cyber insurance. And so you can still get your money back through insurance. I think there's something to be said about ensuring that when the blame comes down, that it falls outside of you. Once again, I feel like there's ways to legally do this where you can basically be like, we're giving you this stuff, and we're not legally liable for when something goes wrong with this platform. I think of like, oh gosh, who was it? Was it like HCA and the old document hosting platform or something? Some old document hosting platform got hacked, and like it's some legacy stuff, and they were hosting it, and HCA was basically like, yes, we contract them, but really this is their breach. Like, yes, they have our data, but this is their breach, or like with Snowflake got hacked, and people were like, AT&T was like, okay, look, I get it's your data, but we don't know Snowflake screwed up, right?
Right.
And tried to immediately shift that blame off. And like, it sucks that it's like that, but we live in like a really highly legal society with a lot of
Mm.
like strong centralized systems that reinforce that. Not trying to get too deep into like the political dissent podcast that we don't do, but like we live in a highly legalized society, and so part of protecting your business is ensuring that you shift off risk to other entities where appropriate and where you can, and then you make sure that you're mitigating risk on the other side. Once again, that's like shifting, in that case you're shifting it to cyber insurance, so you can get like, so you can continue operating while things are going terrible, right? And then ideally the legal problems end up in mostly somebody else's court, because then it's like, because I imagine you're not writing your own code, right? Like you're working with SaaS providers, and that's why I'm phrasing these responses this way, and because
Mhm.
I feel like that's the problem you're most likely solving for. And I think it's a problem that most small medium businesses have to deal with, right? Most small medium businesses, that aren't Flightless Squid Studios, are not writing their own code, right? I assume, Mike, that you guys aren't like offloading your code writing via SaaS or something, which is why I said
No,
that.
no, yeah,
No,
a
no,
lot of it's
exactly.
bespoke.
So
And
I guess that's my
also,
rant
we
on
have
this whole thing.
providers, right? Like
Yeah,
if
there you
we
go.
hire Steam and they
Hmm.
go sideways, like frankly, their license is very severely limits their liability. But that's why we have an LLC. Is we also limit our liability.
Yep,
The
there we go.
reason um, I you're not wrong, and I kind of hate that, and I kind of want to unpack that a little bit. One of the things that
Right?
you're assuming correctly is what's known in the industry is the attacker defender asymmetry.
Hmm.
Is it the I forget the like textbook wording. I think is either dilemma or
Yeah, it's the
um,
attacker and defender's dilemma,
yeah,
right? The
it
attacker, the
is
attacker has to get in, and they just need one line to be tripped for them to be ruined. And the defender's dilemma is that you just need one dude to get in, and
right.
you have to defend against all attacks.
The attacker has to be right once. The defender has to be right every time.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yep.
and a lot of defender practitioners take that to mean that like we're just gonna lose because it's a catch-22,
Hmm.
and I that might be true, and I think we should fight as if it's not, because I think that we should not give up the home field when we have that attitude. We give up the home field advantage. We give up the fact that we got there first. Frequently, we get paid more, and some I think in no, I'm not going to say that. But there are reasons to continue to fight on that hill and then fall back to cover your ass legally. And the reason we don't want to take cover your ass legally, transfer the risk, is because when we start getting into legal risk transference, we're playing musical chairs, and the person who's always left out is the customer, whose data ended up getting lost.
Yeah, getting mashed. Yeah, for sure.
And so, even if I'm going to lose, I'm going to fight as absolutely hard as I can to do the defend to prevent that.
Hmm.
And then, when I lose, then it's risk transference, so that we can have more than one bad day.
Hmm.
And so, to answer my answer to Brandon's question is kind of twofold. One of which is somebody on the team needs to have some awareness of current events in cyber and have some idea uh, which companies and or practitioners in those companies, because speaking of musical chairs, like we all bounce between them, The days of you can have brand loyalty to a particular company for a long time because that these particular people are really solid and really serving the customer well, and they're going to stay at that company for 80 years. We don't do that so much anymore.
Pensions are gone, man.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think even in an age of LLMs, bet on good people. Bet
Hmm.
on the people who are going to go to the mat for not just their company, but you know, which is a very hard thing to say because the news coverage, if it bleeds, it leads, which means you've got to look for who's never in the news.
Yep. Yeah. Makes it hard. Okay. Any other questions about supply chain stuff before we move on to, more detailed discussion about Shai-Hulud?
Rock and
Brandon?
roll. I'm
No?
absorbing. I know I'm quiet, but I'm just absorbing it all.
Yeah, where you at, Brent? You just chilling?
Well, I know it's
Vibing.
super detailed, and I know we don't have all night either. As much as
No.
I mean, I could stay live forever, but I know we have an agenda that we're trying to keep too. So
I want to
No,
stay
no, I
alive
can't.
forever.
yeah, right.
Okay. Shai-Hulud stuff. So, Mike, you know a bunch about Shai-Hulud. It's part of the reason I wanted you on here. Shai-Hulud
Gesundheit.
continues to be continues to be a problem. And um it's really scary, man. Just as Shai-Hulud, as I understand it, is that this team PCP, was able to infect some of the node packet manager or package manager nodes or packages, I guess. Sorry, not nodes, packages. And from there, it was able to explode and continue to expand. And it's a worm, so it's self, that the definition of a worm, as I understand it, is that self-replicating. So it'll automatically go to more packages. And um like for me, there's some things like I straight up don't understand, which is, okay, so you infected one package, that's wonderful, but how is it explode? Like, how is it continuing to self-replicate to other packages? So I was hoping that you could run us through like a timeline of, the situation and like what has happened here, and help us understand some of the fundamentals of how it operates and comes to be.
Yeah. So in September 2025, the
Hmm.
first Shai-Hulud dropped, and uh, we had seen some other like GitHub Actions worms that were reported uh, the year before, so this wasn't coming completely out of nowhere. Um, but this was not an announced pen test. Nobody was writing a blog post about it, and a whole bunch of npm packages suddenly got some obfuscated code checked in. They ran in their CI/CD runners. So uh, back in the old days, when you made a change to your library and you wanted to propagate that library out to everybody who wanted to use it, you would hand jam your code, you would run your tests. If the tests looked good, then you would hopefully sign your package, and then you would do the npm or whatever package manager you used to package up your package, and then post it to the public internet for everybody else to pull down. And the package managers handle all the versioning and all the author name and attribution, and probably have some level of license stuff. Modern package managers are doing their best to handle that SBOM problem that Matt brought up earlier. And in the modern day, a lot of that gets automated away by CI/CD, continuous integration slash continuous deployment automation, which is deployed on runners. And so what you do is, rather than do a lot of that unit testing and signing the package and all that stuff manually, because it's really repetitive, you make the changes to your code. You push that code to your source code repository, whether that's Perforce or Git or Subversion, Mercurial, whatever it's going to be, hosted usually on GitHub or GitLab or Gitty or Bitbucket. And then those source control platforms like GitHub then kick off GitHub Actions run in a container, which is super useful. And you can get those runners to go execute basically any code you give it. And a good DevOps team will automate the bejesus out of your stuff so the developers can spend all their time just developing. And those GitLab runners are a place where DevSecOps puts a lot of their security controls. The problem is you can get those runners to run anything. It's code execution as a service, remote code execution as a service. And if you've been in cybersecurity for a while, remote code execution should make your skin crawl, because that means you done got popped. And so we're not entirely sure how the first Shai-Hulud, the initial compromise, happened. Brian Krebs, when he first reported on it, made an allusion to a earlier campaign of spear phishing attacks at NPM managers, where they specifically were spoofing multi-factor authentication reset emails, which is extra nasty because one of the first recommendations I'm going to make to package managers is enable MFA.
Yeah, for sure.
Spear phishing doesn't start the next worm. But these guys all had MFA. That's what the spear phishing did. Now, I have not seen, and I don't believe Brian was making the solid conclusion that it was this spear phishing that it started the initial 20 or so packages. But that is a likely possibility. There's another candidate or another researcher named ASI Greenholz, ASI Greenholz, I think is an S, not a Z. And when he presented on the GitHub Actions worm back in, I believe that was 2024, in August, he was actually showing that there was some opportunities for taking over packages with subdomain takeovers. If I had to, I don't know. I haven't seen any research publicly saying how the first ones got started. If I had to guess, I think it's the subdomain takeovers. But anyway, the first 20 packages or so had the worm checked in by some other means. Once it was checked in, that's a change to the source code. They push that to the GitLab runners. The GitLab runners update the version, and then they include the worm in the updated version. Specifically, they hook into the pre-install steps. So if you have, for example, if you were going to sign your builds, one of your pre-install steps might be to go get the key that you're going to use to sign your build. But that pre-install, your pre-install, install, and post-install are just GitLab or are just CI/CD runner actions. They can do literally anything, and so the anything in this case is propagate the Shai-Hulud worm. And so once they update the version, they push to the package manager the poisoned package, and then by default, all Node.js libraries come with the configuration to take the bleeding edge package. And so anybody else who depended on the package that is now poisoned, their default configuration is to pull the latest version. The latest version is poisoned. They pull it down. Pre-install is now add Shai-Hulud to my package, install, update, and then we're continuing down the chain.
And so it's eating its way down that tree that we, in every step of the way, it just goes, okay, I'll add myself, you're a depend, we'll just say it's NumPy gets popped, and then Pandas depends on NumPy. So Pandas goes, oh, I'm going to grab the latest Pandas library, or I'm going to go grab the latest NumPy library. It does. And then it replicates itself onto Pandas, and now Pandas does. And then when whatever lives on Pandas, which is, lots of stuff, because it's like a pretty standard library.
Exactly.
Just like Node.js was a super standard library. And, Node.js, as I understand it, was, very core to, that infrastructure there. And it's like...
Well, so Node.js is the language. NPM is the Node package manager.
Package manager, yeah.
So, and each of the...
Most
modern languages have a specific package manager. For Golang, it's PKG. For Java's actually got a couple of them. Maven's the one I'm the most familiar with. For C# code, it's NuGet. So if you're building
Mhm.
Unity packages,
Mhm.
Unity is a library that has a lot of separate libraries that the Unity engine is a NuGet package delivered with the NuGet.
Okay.
So you could, and I suspect that in the coming years we will see somebody trying to do a Shai-Hulud like attack in NuGet. And I think they'll be much less successful for a couple of reasons. And we'll get to that when we get into why NPM and why not other languages.
Sure.
And I still expect it to happen.
Hmm.
So uh, the I'm trying to remember the order of which packages got hit when, and I'm dropping what the really scary. I believe it was NGX, not Nginx, the proxy, but NGX dash
Yeah.
like toast. There's a couple of frameworks. I believe they're a smaller open source competitor of like Spring Framework. Had a bunch of their libraries, and that's where a lot of the propagation started. And so that September morning, one of the developers of NGX Toast, or may have been one of the color libraries, was just doing their daily, update and
Hmm.
check in, and was looking at the code and was like, "Oh, dude, this is a crypto wallet stealer." And he was not entirely, he wasn't quite
Yeah.
right, but he was close enough that he looked at it and he was like, "There's no reason to check in heavily obfuscated code into my
Yeah.
color
Yeah.
library. What the f is going on?" And he just raised a
Yeah.
GitHub issue and was like, fire alarm sounded, and then independent security researchers immediately jumped on it. Brian Krebs reported on it that day, and we're off to the races.
Hmm.
And so I happen to be at doing my day job and trying to, defend against this, and opened up LinkedIn and was just scrolling and saw Brian be like, "Huh, well, that's a problem." And
Yeah.
so we start digging into it, and we start looking for indicators of compromise, and understanding how the worm works and tearing it apart, and looking for, of course, remediation steps. And uh, it turns out about 4 hours after Shai-Hulud was noticed, somebody released a tool also written in Node.js, and the tool was called Chris Knife, which I don't know if you guys have read the Dune novels, but apparently a Chris Knife is the tooth of a sand. Shai-Hulud is the giant sandworm that is on the cover of all the Dune movies and TV shows, and
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
pretty good Westwood real-time strategy game. Deep cut Chris Knife pun. And so a Chris Knife comes from the tooth of the giant sandworm. It's one of the only things that can kill the sandworm, and it's made from the tooth. And this tool named Chris Knife was supposed to help you detect whether or not you had Shai-Hulud. All you had to do was enter your passwords into it.
Which in at that point it totally didn't steal your password at all. I would assume. Correct.
Well, it was only 20,000 lines of Node.js, and I'm in the middle of an incident, so I can't, or sorry, a security event. It's not an incident unless actual compromise happens, and we didn't get compromised.
Mm.
So, uh, uh,
It says you can
and
upload a file. So I'm looking at it here. So you just uploaded your JSON file, right? Your entire
oh,
JSON file
absolutely
of this
not.
thing.
I could
What?
have, but if
I
I'm
don't
looking at,
know. It says,
uh,
but this thing says that it helps people, Mike. I don't
well,
understand. It
it does
says it's
say that
helpful.
on the tin.
It
It
does.
turns
It
out
does say that.
Shai-Hulud said it helped people on the tin too. If you actually crack open what it downloaded, the first series, one of the payload. Uh, so what it after it hooks in its initial installation, it does a promise.all, which is the Node.js function call for forking out into multiple processes, and three of the processes were the standard SDK for
Hmm.
AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud.
Hmm.
So if you're from Oracle Cloud, sorry, I guess you just didn't make the cut, or maybe not sorry because all your secrets, I guess, stayed where they
Yeah.
were. Um, I don't know
Security through
whether
obfuscation does work sometimes, it turns out.
is it obfuscation or is it lack of impact because
It's
of lack of
it was
sales.
lack of impact.
Anyway, so those are the standard SDKs, and all they did was access all of the standard like key vaults and key management servers and all of the standard secret calls that they could get, and they would just collect all the secrets they could find. The fourth one was Trufflehog, which is a tool that I highly recommend all security professionals go try to use. If you have code that you defend, if you do static code analysis, I really like Trufflehog. I also use SemGrep and some of the other static code analysis like GitHub Advanced Security that does secret prevention and secret scanning as well. But Trufflehog, with a security practitioner in the loop, helps find stuff that is very difficult to block. And so I think having that defense in depth, if you can afford it, is really good. But Shai-Hulud actually contained Trufflehog and did a secret scan on the file system of the CI/CD runner and found any secrets that it could, packaged all those up into a secrets.json file, base64 encoded it, base64 encoded it again, and then started to try to exfiltrate that. Now,
That's hilarious.
For security practitioners, one of the things that we need to tell everybody who will listen and several people who won't is that base64 encoding is sometimes used to obfuscate sensitive information, and it is obfuscation, it is not encryption, and it does not work. It does not work at all. It never worked. And it's even worse at working now in the year of our Lord 2026, because all of the LLMs, when they see base 64 encoding, they can tell natively. And it doesn't matter how many times you base 64 encode it, an LLM will automatically detect that it's base 64 and automatically decode it until it's read in plain text. And also, every command line tool on the planet has base 64 as a native command. Any practitioner that sees that equal sign at the end is going to try to base this 64 decode, and then you get something in the clear. There is no entropy used there's no mathematical, what we call a trapdoor function, which is what is required for real encryption. And so base 64 encryption does not work to protect sensitive information. What it does do is it gets you two base 64 encodings at the time, got you past GitHub's platform-wide pre-commit hooks that would prevent you from posting secrets. And what that meant was that the two base 64 encodings, Shai-Hulud could then open a new repo called Shai-Hulud and slap that secrets file for everybody to see. Which meant that if you got popped by Shai-Hulud, anybody who went to your GitHub organization could see /Shai-Hulud and all your credentials. And this
That's
is one
terrible.
of the reasons. Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah, because it's not even like you aren't even keeping it to yourself. You're just giving it to anybody who comes by.
Exactly. And that's
Wow,
one of the ways
brutal.
we can tell that the authors of the original Shai-Hulud, were black hats. This is not responsible. This is the antithesis of responsible
So
disclosure.
responsible. Nah, man, you're just smashing.
Yeah.
Like
This
it's
is
just
not.
destruction.
Well, you're not. It's not just destruction.
I know.
It's worse than that. Like it's not just carelessness. It's malice.
No, it's malice. You just, here's all your passwords. Thank you. I gave it to the entire world for you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Now a lot more people are going to access your stuff. Congratulations.
That's exactly right.
It's so crazy.
Shai-Hulud was kind of praised as being fairly stealthy. It was not that like this method. Yeah. So it posted it for the entire world to see, as long as it had on the GitHub runner, the credentials to make
Do post. Yeah.
post.
Yeah. Because it needs,
In the event that it didn't have those credentials, it actually fired off to a webhook, and presumably the adversary was watching that webhook, and then pulling down. Yeah.
What a mess. I see in the show notes here, it says in November there was another variety where it actually like wiped. And like if it couldn't get your credentials, they updated it so it would smash your shit and just delete everything.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah,
But
um,
there's some malice for you. Oh, I can't fuck you over this way. I'm gonna get you that way. Wild
Hmm.
shit.
yeah,
Pain.
yeah. Now, hopefully, you've got because code repositories are distributed. You can restore from a backup
Yeah,
anywhere
yeah,
on
yeah.
any of those nodes. Hats off to the actual Linus Torvald for writing Git that way.
Hmm.
So there's at least the potential for some recompense, and that's a really good, just kind of by the way, the first rule of all information security is back up your stuff. We want to do a lot of really cool, counter crypto AV, DevSecOps. We want to be really smart, and honestly, step one is back up your stuff. Good note there. Uh, there wasn't much in version 2.0 that I found particularly that much more interesting, other than they wouldn't give it up. Uh, yeah. So then months go by, and Wave 3 hits. And I believe there was one thing that version 2 did that version 1 didn't, which is uh, the version 1 used Node.js to install the SDKs, right? It did some obfuscation for them, but it was still doing Node update, got the poison Node, get the real packages, which meant that if you wanted to defend against Shai-Hulud version 1, you could do so entirely in Node. And a lot of the reaction to Shai-Hulud was within the Node.js and JS community.
Hmm.
And hats off to them. While they have had some other issues in the past, this one they handled really well. They jumped on it immediately. They knew what to do. They shut it down. They contained it within hours, and that was really cool. So number 2 actually pulls down a separate package manager called Bun, like Bunny,
Hmm.
and starts doing installation via Bun. And so it actually switches in during the installation from building a Node package with Node to building Node and then immediately switching over to Bun. So
Oh, and so it
right,
changes tracks.
and one of the defenses that I'm talking about is take Node, point Node at your Nexus or Sonatype, or one of the other. If you're at a medium company and you have some man hours to throw at the problem, but you don't have enterprise budget to buy a big tool, there's an open source tool called Pulp, or
Hmm.
at pulpproject.org, and it handles a lot of the same thing, but it's an open source tool. Now, it doesn't come with the fancy enterprise scanners, so you're going to have to shell out to like the VirusTotal API or open source malware API. But if you're on a shoestring budget, you got more than 20 people on your team, that's a defense.
Hmm.
But if the adversary is now executing commands and installs their own package manager that's on a tech stack that you don't even use, the good news is you can identify that as a indicator of compromise, because any bun usage, if you don't
Hmm.
use bun in your tech stack,
Suspicious. It's like an
but to
RMM
your
that you're not used to seeing.
exactly.
Yep.
But if you do use Node.js and bun, now they've got an instance of bun that's your configuration doesn't touch, and now they're going to install all their nasty stuff from wherever they want to,
Hmm. Yeah.
and that evasion's pretty solid. The so then
Wild.
Yeah. So a couple
Wild.
months later, version 3 comes out, and it hits a whole bunch of really
Hmm.
useful packages, and a couple of the security companies that are doing otherwise a pretty good job. Uh, so this is a pretty serious attack. And what's really interesting is Team PCP takes credit for this one. Now, I haven't I have not seen solid threat intelligence, but I have talked to several people who are much closer to the issue. And my understanding is Team PCP has a history of taking credit for attacks that are not theirs. Furthermore, there was a leak of, whether intentional or not, of the source code for that version of Shai-Hulud. And one of the keys that was used to sign it, we believe, was attributed to a different threat actor.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
so I am of the opinion that we do not know for sure who versions 1 and 2 were authored by yet. And we believe that they were not authored by Team PCP.
You think in nation state? Just like personal opinion.
I have no idea. I, I actually am gonna go on record and say I don't think it was a nation state because there was a couple of other things they could have done for version
That they
1
didn't do.
that they didn't. A lot of the tooling that I saw in Shai-Hulud 1 are tools that and attack techniques that I saw discussed at DEF CON. And so I
You think that they went to DEF CON, they were like, fuck, I could
I
do
do.
some of this.
I do
And they
actually.
were like,
Well,
this.
I wouldn't go so far as to say they went to DEF CON. I
Yeah,
believe
sure,
that they
sure. They
are,
saw the videos, whatever.
yeah, they have some end degree connection to the corpus of research that is centered at DEF
Yeah,
CON.
sure. I mean, there's so much there, man. There's so
Yeah.
much to learn at DEF CON if you're looking for, like, if you're going looking for the right stuff and you find the right thing, you're like, oh shit, this is my jam.
Yeah.
I know what all these words mean. You know, so much of DEF CON is, for me, is like, man, I've never heard any of those words chained in that way together,
Yeah.
but if you go there and you're like you can find some really special people who like know, so like maybe they just,
Oh yeah.
like you find special people who know wild things there. I think my
Oh,
favorite
absolutely.
story, I know this is off on a tangent, but my favorite story is being at the bar at like midnight. And I was talking to my friend who I had met there about how like it's filled with such cool people. And I look at the person that's like sitting catty corner to us and I go, hey man, what do you do? And he goes, dude, I hack supercars for a living.
Yeah.
He's like, they pay me to, take limiters off of this and that because they don't feel like their car goes fast enough. And there's artificial limiters on there and we can make it go faster. And I was like,
Yeah.
I turned the guy and I was like, you see what I'm talking about, man? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So I mean, anyways, man, you find the right people and you can get the right information and feel inspired,
Yeah.
and then apparently wreak havoc on the entire corporate of the world. I mean, this stuff isn't. I was going to say America, but it's not really America specific.
Nope.
You know what I
The-
mean?
Well, and this kind of watering hole attack is almost entirely indiscriminate, which is another thing that I hate about it.
Yeah, it just smashes anybody they can get their hands on.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if it makes me wonder anyway if there was like specific people or entities that they were targeting and they made all this splashing in the water over here, but like in these other areas they only stole the crypto keys and didn't, or the secrets, and then didn't post them the same way. A lot of
My
noise
understanding
over
is,
here,
yeah,
not so much over here.
that is not impossible.
A little sleight of hand.
So adversaries like Salt Typhoon have been known to do exactly that as a strategic campaign objective. At least Shai-Hulud 1 and 2, I don't think had the level of sophistication that make me think that was for those two events. Maybe not. Without
whatever. I'm just
without
paranoid,
solid
man.
threat intelligence, without the level of threat intelligence that comes from
Yeah,
hackback,
no.
I don't think we'll ever know. Yeah.
So I see here, it looks like that eventually Team PCP released all the source code for Shai-Hulud. Like, why? Why would they do that?
Yeah. So
That's their sauce, allegedly, right? So why share the secrets?
that's a great question. It's a very interesting move. I think it's actually fairly typical adversary behavior. My understanding. So on some level, all the black hats are on one team and all the white hats are on one team,
Hmm.
regardless of what country you're in, company you work for, whether or not you work for a company, right? All the independent white hat researchers,
Hmm.
who I incredibly respect, because anytime a black hat gets a payout, that finances their ability to go attack the next target, hurt the next
Yep.
person. And many of us white hats, we don't care who you are. You deserve privacy. You deserve to not get hacked. You
Hmm.
deserve to not
Yep.
have violence done upon you, even if it's only information violence. Uh, and so some of this is also some of this is plausible deniability, right? Among the white hats are law enforcement, right? If I find if I have any inkling who actually wrote the first couple, if we can get that attribution, um, we're going to bring down the full weight
Hmm.
of, and if nation states got hit, like that might include intelligence agencies,
Yeah.
uh, and
Upsetting
so
to those
there's a
agencies.
so those black hats have a very high incentive to try to not get caught, which is one of the reasons why they posted the passwords everywhere. Is now if they go to use the passwords, they can say, oh, I didn't write Shai-Hulud, I just got the password from the public
Hmm.
repo.
Okay. Yeah, that
uh,
makes sense. That's smart.
and so what they're trying to do is there's this idea. One of the things that made Anonymous really scary, right, is Anonymous was like hundreds of online individuals, but only double digits of them were the really scary elite hackers.
Hmm.
Uh, what made Anonymous scary is there was the rest were bunches and bunches of script kiddies making noise that could hide the signal of the really
Hmm.
scary actors, right?
Hmm.
The predators need a forest to hide
Yeah,
in,
yeah, yeah.
and
That makes sense.
frankly, one of the things that we're seeing in the late 2020s is uh, there's so many other things technical people could go do, even bad meaning technical people. The forest is kind of drying up a little bit. Um, it's very easy to go watch a YouTube video by a hacker and feel like you did some hacking, or by a hacktivist and feel like you did hacktivism, as opposed to back in the 90s, if you wanted to feel like doing hacktivism, like you could read a BBN, but then you'd want to go do some real hacking, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Then you actually got to go deface a website.
yeah. Um, and you could go talk to an LLM about doing hacking, and the
Hmm.
LLM will tell you, "Oh, you did good hacking."
You're a elite hacker, bro.
Right.
You're so
And so
amazing.
there's a temperate, which is one of the reasons why Digital Ascent's mission of education, of drawing people into our space, is so
Hmm.
important. Is we need somebody for the last generation, however you want to call that, of hackers to pass the torch to,
Hmm.
and that's why we're here, which is super cool.
That's why we're
So
here.
one of the reasons that the posting the source code and posting all the credentials was about creating the forest that they could hide in, was about plausible deniability, was also about the community, right? Because their team PCP is trying to build a brand, which is also why they're taking credit for other people's attacks.
Yeah,
Is
yeah, because they're
they're
on a
also
brand.
trying to they're trying to engender trust so that they can share tooling, and
Hmm.
on some level, because all of the black hats are fighting Goliath, one of the ways you keep Goliath from smushing you like a bug is you gotta, zebras use their stripes
Hmm.
to, and so they've got to share tooling, so it's you don't see a particular tool being used and be like, oh, well, that's Panda, because only Panda does
Hmm.
that, or oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's this, organized crime group, because only this organized crime group has
Hmm.
Shai-Hulud. Now everybody's got Shai-Hulud.
It could be anybody.
Yeah,
Anybody. It's
and
crazy.
yeah, and this is a well-known technique. Frankly, I expect the group that I think they're actually did Shai-Hulud v3 that Team PCP took credit for. I think they got access to Shai-Hulud v1 or v2,
Hmm.
mutated it themselves, and then sent it.
Sent it.
So I think we're dealing with at least three groups here.
Oh, interesting. So as we kind of wrap up, it's been a long episode. As we kind of wrap up, we always like to talk about, this was cool, right? Like security research is cool. know,
Yeah.
like working in all this is really cool. How does somebody get into, you know, if they're sitting here going, man, I'm getting ready for college or I just completed college, what are your, you know, or anything like that, technical school, what are your recommendations for somebody to like get into security research or similar?
So I'm going to answer two questions. One of
Sure,
which is how do I get into InfoSec in general, and then
sure,
I'm going to go into security research and malware
sure.
research and
Yeah, yeah, I
supply.
think that makes sense.
So if you're interested in getting into InfoSec in general, one, don't go it alone and don't try to drink from the fire hose. InfoSec
Hmm.
has a million different disciplines, and if you try to do all of them, you're going to feel like smart people do all of them, and I must not be smart enough because I can't. No, no, no,
I
no.
can't do them all.
There's,
No, I have one pool I swim in, and I do my best to like, like I do my best to understand my pool,
yeah,
and then I talk to
no,
people like you to understand your pool.
yeah. And now that I've been doing this for 10 years, I've just now gotten into maybe three pools. Like
Yeah.
incident response is something different. Vuln management is something else. There's a
Oh
whole
man, for sure.
ecosystem of governance, risk, and compliance. They make us
Yep.
lots of money. I'm so thankful for them. Yeah. Uh, if you're interested in getting into InfoSec, I would go to overthewire.org/wargames and try their Bandit war games. Is a really good introduction to some of the Linux command line tools and early hacking stuff. It's very fun. It's very structured. It's very at your own pace. It's very accessible. Anybody who can do a command line can do it. And definitely don't do it alone. I would highly recommend, regardless of what you're interested in getting into, get into a community that does it.
Hmm.
One of my favorite communities for getting into InfoSec is the Red Team Alliance. And the Global Red Team Alliance has a Discord community that's very vibrant. They do the Infinite CTF, which takes minutes to learn how to play and years to master, and focuses on a reproducible red teaming methodology. And I find that going and breaking something you're allowed to break safely and legally that's not going to hurt anybody that stays in scope is a great place for white hats to start out because
Hmm.
you understand very quickly what can go wrong. And if you're just out of college and you're looking for a gig, a lot of security jobs we pull from test engineering a lot, and help desk.
Hmm.
I wouldn't stay in there for very long. Especially if you're interested in security. But if you're in test engineering, you see what all the bugs look like, and you kind of get a smell for what goes wrong in code, and then you can specialize into the security implications of what goes wrong in code. And people who start in test tend to go very far in infosec. If you're in help desk, you are also seeing what goes wrong, but you're rather than getting a smell for what goes wrong with code, you're getting a smell for what happens to users.
Hmm.
And when I was in AppSec, when I led the AppSec team, and I was doing my own hiring, we pulled a lot of people from both of those places to start with, and also some people who just had the very classic. I went to school for computer science, and then I got my master's in cybersecurity, and then you can also go like the classic school route, but you do not need a degree in computer science or cybersecurity to get a job in
Hmm.
infosec. I've worked with lots of professionals who had something else or no degree.
Or
What they
no
did
degree.
have, I actually worked for a CISO for a while who had no degree. What she did have was like 20 something years of experience, and so and she had a brain for both business and cybersecurity, and had seen some
Yeah, that's
stuff.
what you really did. Hmm.
Yeah, had spent some time in law enforcement, and so I find degrees tend to speed things up a lot, and tend to make the ceiling easier to push further up. So I find them useful, but they're absolutely not critical.
Hmm.
I have my undergrad from the University of Washington in computer engineering. I This is a shame Brandon's not here because we could make jokes about hardware.
I'm still here.
Oh,
My
good.
back is spasming, so I have to keep leaning down on the table. And I'm
Okay.
just like, I figured that isn't good video. But you can make fun of hardware and Matt. either one of those is okay to make fun of.
Roger that. For security research, malware research, and for what I would consider DevSecOps, which is securing the CI/CD, the DevOps pipeline, I do find development experience. You're very frequently going to be, your main customers are going to be developers, and so being able to speak development language is incredibly important. I would go build. I would go to one of the languages that you prefer, go author your own library for something fun. Most of them, like getting the MIT license is free. Just go build something for fun, and you will inherit all of the problems that you're trying to solve professionally. And then bada bang, then you're in. I highly recommend a book called Clean Code, a guide to agile craftsmanship by Robert Martin. You can also find him on YouTube. He's fantastic. And chapter 8 goes into boundaries, which is the science of how do you import open source libraries without getting your code broken. And then it turns out that there's a lot of security implications thereafter.
Awesome. I think that a lot of that's really good advice. Whenever I talk to somebody, and they're like, "Oh man, it's weird. I get into an Uber, and like frequently, like half the Ubers I get into, like them, either they or their kids are getting into like tech or cyber, and they're like, what do I do? Like, what am I? Yeah, and like, what do my kids do? And I'm like, I was like, you need to go work help desk at an MSP. Like, you're not going to make a ton of money, but like, 3 years from now, you're going to be a tier 3 service desk person, and maybe 4, and you're going to see some really like weird problems, and then you're going to understand how all the systems connect. And once you understand the systems and how they connect, you can really start, like, that's like, in my opinion, that's how you get like the most solid security practitioners. And that's who I see succeeding more than anybody else, are people who fundamentally understand how the systems interconnect, operate, and like work. Because it's a lot easier to understand, well, what does it mean to microsegment a firewall? And when you understand what is an LDAP port and how does that interact with my DC, right? And like, dude, you're gonna get that in a cyber degree, but like, are you gonna get it? Like, get it? You know what I mean? Like, what does it mean to segregate a DC and how you might destroy your environment in the click of a button, right? And so, but I think those are really solid recommendations. And I hope anybody that's either here or watching the VOD is interested in this, takes you up on them basically, and takes them to heart, because for what it's worth, I strongly agree. Okay, so pretty long. Brent, anything you want to ask, brother? Mr. Soak it in tonight.
No, outside of this, the usual, hit us up on our website, digitalascent.tech. Check us out on Discord. That's where we intend on carrying the conversation outside of this.
Yeah.
And for the people that can't make it, I know Sunday night is, I don't know, when's the last time we did a Sunday night? Have we ever done a Sunday night?
Dude,
were our original ones?
Yeah, it was like, dude, our Sunday nights were like year 2, so it's been probably 3 years since
it's been a
Sunday
minute.
night.
Yeah,
I just couldn't do it tomorrow night, man. I just got
no, it's fine. So I think some of our usual folks that kind of hang out and chat, our lurkers and stuff, are just not around the night at all. Probably thought we posted the announcement and mistakenly this morning when I posted it, I'm sure. But no, check us out, on Discord. That's the place to ask more questions. Mike's in there. Mike would be more than happy to answer anything that he can answer within his power, within staying out of trouble, that is. And yeah, right. And then, like I said, we've got those keys for Electron Flux. We're going to be figuring out how to give those away.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Flightless Squid Studios.
Yeah, awesome. I can't wait to try it out. I may have to play that on stream. We'll see. And
it's fun. Do it, man.
It's fun. It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
If you do, let us know. We'll promote it on Steam.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. No, I'd love to.
Yeah, let's
do that. What else? Am I forgetting any other usual things? I don't think so. Matt's deep in thought.
No.
Okay.
No,
I'm not forgetting
my wife.
anything. All right.
My wife's off screen giving me nonverbal communication. I need to shut up and go to bed.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys, Mike. Look, there goes Brandon. Brandon's dead. He died. He's gone.
We love you, Brandon.
Brandon
Feel
needs a back
better.
massage, a Theragun maybe. And Mike, thank you again. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I think
for
that's
sure,
it.
brother. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you so much for
Take it
having
easy,
us.
guys.
This was
Yep.
great.
Thanks,
This
everybody.
is great. Thank you. Bye.
Brent locks the rhythm in the dark. Matt traces every circuit spark.